Honestly, I used to read stories like these on Reddit and think, that would never happen to me. We're solid. My wife, Emily, and I have been together for 6 years, married for 4. We have 2 beautiful kids, Sophie 8 and Liam 5. If you asked anyone who knew us, they'd tell you we were that couple, laughing at parties, holding hands in public, finishing each other's sentences. I was proud of us. Things weren't always perfect, of course. Marriage never is. Between work, bills, and raising kids, the spark sometimes dimmed. But I never doubted her loyalty. Not once. Looking back now, the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. A few months ago, she started going to the gym more often. At first, I thought it was great. She said she wanted to feel healthy and strong again, and I supported her 100%. She started talking about this new trainer, Ryan. Mid-30s, shredded, the kind of guy who lives in compression shirts. She would casually mention him, how he really pushes her, how he's funny, how he knows so much about fitness. I didn't think anything of it. Why would I? She's my wife. Then came the little changes. She started wearing makeup to the gym, buying new leggings, spending more time in the shower after workouts. At home, she seemed distant, like I was an obligation. When I tried to hold her, she'd pull away with excuses. I'm tired. The kids wore me out. I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. Maybe I wasn't exciting anymore. God, I feel like an idiot now. The first real crack showed a month ago. She got a text late at night, 1 a.m. Her phone lit up on the nightstand while she was in the bathroom. I saw the name Ryan. Just Ryan. No emoji, no last name. My gut clenched, but when I asked about it, she laughed it off. He's just helping me with a meal plan. She even rolled her eyes like I was paranoid. And I believed her. I wanted to believe her. I should have trusted my instincts. Yesterday was the day my life broke in half. I work in logistics, and my schedule can be unpredictable. Normally, I'm out until late on Wednesdays, but yesterday my shift got canceled at the last minute. I thought, perfect. I'll surprise Emily. Maybe we can have a nice dinner, watch a movie like old times. I even grabbed her favorite wine on the way home. When I walked through the front door, the house was too quiet. The kids were at my mom's for the night, which I thought was lucky. We could have the whole evening to ourselves. I put the wine on the counter and started heading to the bedroom to change. That's when I heard it. Soft at first, then louder. Rhythmic. Moans. My wife's moans. For a second, I froze, because my brain refused to process it. I stood there in the hallway, heart pounding so hard I could feel in my throat. And then I heard a man's voice, low, cocky, almost laughing. I can't describe the sound except to say it made me feel physically sick. I pushed the door open. Time stopped. There she was, my wife, naked, tangled in sheets, hair a mess, flushed red like I've never seen her. And on top of her, pounding into her like he owned her, was Ryan, the trainer. The F*****ing trainer I paid for, because she said he was helping her get confident again. I just stood there. I don't even remember breathing. They didn't notice me at first. They were too into it. Too into each other. Then she saw me. Her eyes went wide, and she let out this strangled sound, like a gasp, like she'd been caught stealing, not destroying 6 years of my life. Mark, she started, scrambling to cover herself. But I couldn't hear her over the blood rushing in my ears. Ryan just smirked, didn't even look ashamed. Just smirked, like I was the punchline to some cruel joke. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just turned around and walked out. I remember my hands shaking so hard I couldn't even get the key in the ignition when I got in my car. My entire body was on fire. I wanted to vomit. I wanted to die. Everything I thought I knew about my life, gone in a single F*****ing moment. I didn't sleep last night. Not a second. I just drove around aimlessly for hours, trying to make sense of what I saw. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, flushed with pleasure that I haven't seen in years, and that smug grin on his face. It replayed over and over like some sick movie stuck on a loop. At around 5 a.m., I finally drove back home. The lights were on. She was sitting at the kitchen table in her robe, looking like she'd been crying, but I swear to God, when I walked in, her first expression wasn't guilt. It was fear, like she was scared of what I might do. Not scared of losing me, but scared of the consequences. That hurt more than anything. She stood up, opened her mouth, then closed it. For a second, we just stared at each other. My throat felt like sandpaper. Why, was all I could manage to say. My voice cracked like I was a teenager again. She started crying harder, covering her face with her hands. I didn't want this to happen, she said between sobs. I'm so tired of being a wife, Mark. I wanted to feel like a woman again. I swear those words shattered something inside me. Tired of being a wife? So, what the hell was I to her all these years? Just some burden she carried while waiting for her chance to feel alive with someone else? You could have told me, I said quietly. We could have worked on this. We could have fixed it. She shook her head like I was an idiot. You don't understand. You've been so distant. Always working, always tired. I felt invisible. Ryan, he makes me feel seen. That was her excuse. That I worked too hard to keep a roof over our heads. That I was tired from providing for the family. That I wasn't fun enough. That he, a guy who flirts with every married woman in the gym, saw her. The worst part? She made it sound like this was my fault. Like I drove her to cheat. And in that moment, I almost believed her. That's the kind of mind asterisk. I'm sitting there, feeling like maybe I really wasn't enough. Like maybe if I had been more, she wouldn't have needed him. Then she said the thing that burned into my brain. I never meant to hurt you, but I can't promise it won't happen again. When she said those words, I can't promise it won't happen again, it felt like someone had reached inside my chest and ripped out everything that made me human. I just stared at her. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even cry. My body went completely numb, like my brain pulled the emergency brake because it couldn't handle the pain. All I could hear was the hum of the refrigerator behind her and the pounding of my own heart. You're telling me that if we stay together, you might still keep seeing him? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She didn't answer right away. She just stared at the table like a child caught doing something wrong. Then, finally, she looked up and said, I don't know what I want, Mark. Those words broke me more than the cheating itself. I don't know what I want. After everything we've built, the house, the kids, the life, I was standing there, begging for scraps of commitment from the woman I've loved more than anyone in this world, and she didn't know what she wanted. I walked out of the kitchen and sat on the edge of our bed, the same bed where she had him inside her just hours before. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. I just sat there, shaking, staring at my hands like maybe they could hold the pieces of my broken life. I thought about our kids. How the hell do I tell them? How do I destroy their little world because their mom decided to feel like a woman again? And then I hated myself for even thinking about protecting her secret. Why should I protect her? I broke down then. The tears came hard and fast, and I couldn't stop them. I buried my face in my hands and sobbed until my throat burned. It wasn't just sadness, it was grief. Like someone had died, and I guess someone had, the woman I thought I married. And through all of that, one thought kept circling in my head like a vulture. How long has she felt this way? And why wasn't I enough? After I cried myself empty, I went back to the kitchen. She was still there, sitting with her arms crossed, looking like the victim in all of this. That look alone made my blood boil. I needed answers. I needed something, anything, that would make sense of this chaos in my head. How long? I asked, standing in the doorway. My voice was raw. She hesitated, then whispered, a few months. A few months. The words echoed in my skull like a gunshot. Not a one-time mistake. Not a drunken lapse in judgment. Months. While I kissed her goodnight. While I tucked our kids into bed. While I worked late shifts to keep this family afloat, she was screwing her trainer in God knows how many positions. How many times? I pressed because I hate myself, but I needed to know. She didn't answer right away. Her eyes darted to the floor like the truth was hiding in the tile grout. Finally, she said, I don't know. I didn't keep count. That nearly made me laugh. Didn't keep count. Like it happened so often that numbers didn't matter anymore. Where? I demanded. At his place, she said quietly. Sometimes here. Here. In our bed. Where our kids run in on Sunday mornings to wake us up. Where I held her after her dad died. Where we made Sophie and Liam. I felt my stomach twist. I wanted to throw up right there on the kitchen floor. Then came the worst part, the way she looked at me when I asked these questions. Like I was the one interrogating her unfairly. Like I was controlling. She actually said, Why are you asking all these questions, Mark? It's over now. Over now? As if that's supposed to make me feel better. As if she didn't just gut me alive and leave me bleeding on the floor. That was the moment I realized something terrifying. She wasn't sorry. Not really. She was sorry she got caught. Something in me snapped when she said, Why are you asking all these questions? It's over now. Over now? Like months of betrayal could just be erased because she decided it was done? Like she was doing me a favor by ending it? I slammed my fist on the table so hard the wine bottle rattled. Over now? Are you ing kidding me, Emily? My voice shook, not from fear, but from pure rage I didn't know I was capable of. You've been screwing some guy behind my back for months, and now I'm supposed to just what? Move on? Pretend it didn't happen because you say it's over? Her face hardened, and she crossed her arms like a teenager being scolded. I said I was sorry, Mark. What more do you want from me? Sorry? I laughed bitterly. You're sorry? That's rich. You weren't sorry when you texted him while sitting next to me on the couch. You weren't sorry when you went to his place instead of coming home to your kids. You weren't sorry when you at him in our bed. Emily, don't you dare throw the word sorry at me like it fixes anything. Her lip curled, and then she said it, the line that nearly broke me. If you'd been the husband I needed, I wouldn't have had to look somewhere else. The room went silent. My ears rang. For a moment, I thought I misheard her. But no, she meant every syllable. She was blaming me. After everything, she was putting this on me. I stared at her, trying to find the woman I married, the mother of my children. But all I saw was someone cold, someone who felt entitled to destroy our family because she wanted to feel alive again. You're unbelievable, I whispered. You cheat on me for months, and you still manage to make yourself the victim. I'm not a victim, she shot back, but I'm not a villain either. I've felt alone for years, Mark. You never noticed. That's T, and you know it, I snapped. You never said a word. Not one. You could have talked to me. You could have told me how you felt. Instead, you spread your legs for the first guy who made you feel special. Her hand flew to her mouth like I'd slapped her. For a second, I thought she was going to cry again, but no, her eyes were ice. And in that moment, I realized something that chilled me to my core. I didn't know this woman anymore. After that fight, I couldn't be in the same room with her. I grabbed my keys and left. I didn't even know where I was going. I just drove. Empty streets, headlights blurring from the tears I refused to let fall. The rage was still there, boiling under my skin, but now it mixed with something worse, helplessness. Because no matter how much I hated her in that moment, I still loved her. God help me, I still loved her. And that made it so much harder. I parked in some grocery store lot at 2 a.m. and just sat there in silence. My mind kept spinning. What about Sophie and Liam? How do I tell them their mom burned our life to the ground? Do I rip their world apart because of her? Do I stay and eat this poison for the rest of my life so they can have a whole family? Every path felt like hell. I thought about all the little moments, the school plays, the bedtime stories, the plans we made for the future. Were they all fake? Was she already thinking about him when she kissed me goodnight? Was she imagining him when she smiled across the dinner table? Then my brain went darker. How long was she planning to keep this going? If I hadn't come home early, would it still be happening right now? And then the worst question of all hit me like a truck. Was it just him? Or were there others? That thought ate me alive. I knew I couldn't sleep. I knew I couldn't move forward without answers, even if they destroyed me completely. So I drove back home, walked into the dark house, quiet as a ghost. She was asleep in our bed. I stood there for a long time, watching her breathe, wondering how the hell she could sleep after what she did. Then I grabbed her phone from a nightstand, and that's when I found the messages. Her phone wasn't locked. That almost made me laugh. After everything, she didn't even bother putting a passcode on it, as if secrecy didn't matter anymore because I was already broken. I opened the messages with Ryan. At first, it was just casual gym talk. Harmless. Then it shifted. Flirty comments. Compliments about how good she looked in leggings. Her laughing back with emojis, those same laughing emojis she barely sends me anymore. Then the texts got darker. Explicit. Detailed. Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you on top of me. You taste so good. I want you again. Next time, let's do it in the shower so we don't leave a mess on the sheets. My stomach dropped. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. I scrolled further, and it got worse. Photos, selfies she sent him. Lingerie I didn't even know she owned. Her smiling, biting her lip like she used to with me years ago, except this time, it wasn't for me. Then I saw the ones he sent her. Him shirtless, flexing. Him in bed, smirking. And then, God, I wish I could erase this from my brain, him with himself in his hand, captioned, thinking about that tight little body of yours. And her reply? God, you're making me so wet. Can't wait for next time. Next time. Like it was an ongoing arrangement. Like this wasn't a mistake, but something she looked forward to. I dropped the phone on the nightstand and stumbled to the bathroom because I thought I was going to throw up. I stared at myself in the mirror, my face pale, eyes bloodshot, chest heaving. And all I could think was she texting him while sitting next to me on the couch? While I was putting our kids to bed. I wanted to smash the mirror. I wanted to wake her up and scream until the neighbors called the cops. But instead, I just stood there, gripping the sink, trying not to pass out. I didn't recognize myself anymore, and I sure as hell didn't recognize her. I don't know how long I stood in that bathroom, gripping the sink, like it was the only thing keeping me from falling apart. At some point, I wiped my face, walked back into the bedroom, and turned on the light. She stirred, groaned, and blinked at me like I was the one waking her up for no reason. "What are you doing?" she mumbled. I held up her phone. "You want to tell me what this is?" She froze. Her eyes flicked to the screen, then back to me. Her face went pale for half a second, then hardened into something cold. "You went through my phone?" I laughed, actually laughed, because the audacity was unbelievable. "That's what you're worried about? That I looked? Not the fact that you were F***************************************************************** Ryan and sexting him while I was sitting in the same damn room." Her voice sharpened. "You had no right." "No right?" I exploded, my voice echoing off the walls. "You had no right to blow up our marriage, Emily. You had no right to humiliate me like this. You sent him pictures. You told him things you haven't said to me in years. You told him you couldn't wait for next time. You couldn't even keep count of how many times you spread your legs for him." Her face twisted with anger, like I was the one who betrayed her. "You don't understand what it's like to feel invisible, Mark. You haven't touched me the way he did in years. He made me feel wanted. Alive. Wanted." I shot back. "You think he wants you? He wants your body, Emily. That's it. You're just another notch on his bedpost. Meanwhile, I've been killing myself working late shifts, making sure you and the kids have everything you need. That's what I was doing while you were getting Ed in our bed." She crossed her arms, chin high, like she was proud. "Maybe if you hadn't been so busy working, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere." That was it. That was the moment something inside me turned to stone. Because no matter what I said, no matter how much pain I was in, she wasn't going to own this. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't ashamed. She was rewriting the story to make me the villain. And God help me. Part of me started to believe her. After that confrontation, I couldn't stay in the same room with her. I didn't yell anymore. I didn't even speak. I just moved through the house like a ghost, careful not to touch anything she had touched with him. I went to the study, sat at my laptop, and for hours I just stared at the screen. Lawyers, divorce, custody, separation. Everything I never thought I'd need to research in my life. I imagined explaining to the kids that their world was breaking because their mom chose someone else over our family. My stomach twisted every time I thought about their faces, and yet, as much as I wanted to leave, part of me still wanted to fix it, still wanted her back, still wanted her to tell me it was a mistake, that she loved me, that this had all been some awful lapse in judgment. I clung to that tiny, fragile hope like a life raft in a storm. I knew that wasn't fair to myself. I knew the trust was shattered beyond repair. But it didn't matter. Love doesn't care about logic. Love just hurts. And I hurt so much I could barely breathe. So I made a plan. Not an immediate plan, not a loud declaration, not a dramatic scene. A quiet plan. I would figure out the truth. How long, how deep, how far it went. I would protect the kids from the fallout as best I could, and I would prepare myself for the inevitable, whether that meant walking away or trying to stay. I felt like a soldier gearing up for battle, except the enemy wasn't her, it was me, trying to survive a life that no longer made sense. The next few days were hell. Every time I saw Sophie and Liam, I forced myself to smile, to play, to tuck them into bed and kiss their foreheads like nothing had changed. They didn't know, and I was determined they wouldn't. Not yet, but inside I was crumbling. Every laugh, every game of hide and seek felt like a knife twisting deeper in my chest because I couldn't shake the image of her with him. Every time she smiled at me or tried to act normal, I felt like I was walking on shards of glass. She had perfected her act, too. Cold, distant but careful. She acted like I was the one who was unstable, the one imagining things, the one being unreasonable. She told me with a sigh, "You're so tense all the time, Mark. You need to relax. Maybe you're overthinking everything." And it worked. For a while I doubted myself. Was I crazy? Was I imagining things? But the messages on her phone, the smells, the sound in that bedroom, they weren't imaginary. Still, for the kids, I wore the mask. I laughed with them, read bedtime stories, wiped tears when they fell, and tucked them in like nothing happened. And at night, when the house was quiet, I sat alone with my thoughts, replaying every moment of her betrayal, trying to figure out what had gone wrong, and wondering if I could ever trust anyone, especially her again. It was a lonely, aching life. And the hardest part? I had to live it while pretending everything was fine, at least for their sake. One night, after tucking the kids in, I sat in the dark living room, staring at the blank TV screen. The house was silent, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. I felt completely alone, even though she was in the next room, pretending everything was fine. I finally let myself fall apart. Not the quiet tears I let slip when no one was watching, but real, deep, guttural sobs. I screamed into my pillow through a chair across the room and cursed everything, her, him, myself, the universe for letting this happen. I thought about every memory we had. Our wedding, the first time I held Sophie, Liam's first steps, and wondered if she'd ever truly loved me or if I had been living next to a stranger all these years. I remembered the way she had blamed me. If you'd been the husband I needed, I wouldn't have had to look somewhere else. Those words echoed louder than any insult, louder than the betrayal itself. She made me feel guilty for her choices. She had turned the entire nightmare into my fault, and somehow, part of me believed it. I lay on the floor, exhausted, broken. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think straight. My chest ached from crying. My mind wouldn't stop replaying her face, the messages, the moans. And yet, despite all that, part of me still loved her. I realized then that this wasn't just betrayal. It was war. And I had no idea if I was strong enough to survive it. I couldn't take it anymore. The lies, the coldness, the way she twisted everything to make me feel guilty, it had to end. I waited until the kids were at school and sat her down in the living room. No yelling this time. No anger in my voice, just exhaustion and heartbreak. "I know everything, Emily," I said quietly, holding up her phone like evidence in a court case. The months, the messages, the pictures, the excuses. I know everything. She looked at me, her eyes wide, like I was the one being unreasonable. "Mark, please," she whispered, but there was no real fear. No remorse. Just the same cold mask she'd worn for months. "I trusted you," I said, my voice breaking. "I loved you. And you destroyed everything. And then you made me feel like it was my fault. How could you do that?" Tears streamed down her face. She dropped her head to her hands and said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I couldn't even finish listening. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to make her understand what she had done. But it was useless. Her apology was hollow, rehearsed, like she had practiced it in the mirror. "I can't do this anymore," I said. "I can't live like this. Not for the kids, not for me. You've chosen your life. I have to choose mine." And in that moment, I felt a strange clarity. The love I had for her wasn't gone, but the trust, the foundation of everything, was shattered beyond repair. She tried to cry, to plead, to make it my fault again, but I saw through it all. I realized I didn't need her permission to start over. It's been months since I walked out of that living room, and life hasn't been easy. I filed for separation, started therapy, and moved into a small apartment so the kids could visit comfortably. Every day is a battle between heartbreak and hope. I won't lie. There are moments I still think about her, still feel the sting of what she did, still wonder if I could have fixed us. But I've learned something crucial. Love alone isn't enough. Trust is everything. And once it's gone, it's almost impossible to get back. I've also realized how strong you can be when forced to survive. I built routines with Sophie and Liam that are just ours. Bedtime stories, homework, weekend trips, they're the anchors keeping me sane. And for the first time in months, I feel a tiny spark of hope that life can be joyful again. If I could give advice to anyone who's going through this, don't blame yourself for someone else's choices. Don't let someone else's betrayal define your worth. And most importantly, don't lose sight of the people who truly need you, the ones who love you unconditionally like your children. Emily may have broken the life we built together, but she didn't break me. I'm still standing, and slowly, painfully, I'm learning to live again.